Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Shaun the Sheep Movie. Visual storytelling is something that's very unique to filmmaking and something that filmmaking does better than almost any medium. It can really tell an entire story without ever saying a word. And oftentimes when we see a film that does that nowadays, since it's been a very long time since we had just silent film, we've mostly been dealing with sound film, which uses a lot of dialogue to tell its story. But when you have the few films that come along and tell their story visually, it's kind of a treat to behold. And sometimes I feel like the emphasis on that, and we've had certain films like this summer, we had Mad Max Fury Road, which was an intensely visual experience. When you have films that are more visual and don't have a lot of dialogue and are telling their story mainly with pictures, I kind of feel like oftentimes we'll overemphasize the film, even if the plot itself isn't that great. Certainly not every silent film was an amazing feat of filmmaking, and Shaun of the Sheep is still a really great movie, and maybe it's more about, it's not what it's about, it's how it is about it. And if you count that, then this film is very exceptional, especially if you consider it in the animated kid genre, which is sorely lacking in terms of great filmmaking. And Shaun the Sheep Movie has a lot more of that going on for it, but it's still got that kind of normal kid movie plot, and even the greatest visual storyteller can't change that and make that any better than it is. The sheep on this farm are sick of the mundane life of living on a farm with a farmer who used to love them and was like this young guy who used to just hang out and chill and all this stuff, but now is just like going by a scheduled order, knows exactly when to do certain things, when to shear the sheep, when to do exactly everything on time to keep the farm running. That's become a lot more boring, and he isn't as fun as he used to be. So the sheep, after seeing a bus ad for a candy bar called Day Off, decide that they need a day off and hatch a plan to put the farmer to sleep so that they can go and have a fun day off. But unfortunately, while he's asleep in a caravan, the caravan loses control and runs down the road and winds up in the big city. After he is there and they try to chase after him, he gets a case of amnesia, and then after being in the hospital and somehow walking out, recognizes an electric razor from his sheep shearing days and becomes an amazing celebrity stylist as the sheep, led by Shaun, are trying to find the farmer and hopefully bring him back and restore his memory so they can all go back to the farm and hopefully be a family once again. Now, Shaun the Sheep Movie is actually the movie adaptation of Shaun the Sheep, the TV show, which I really wasn't aware that Aardman had a TV show on English TV called Shaun the Sheep. I don't think it's really made it over to America, unfortunately, and that's kind of a shame because I love Aardman, and this is actually a spin-off from Wallace and Gromit. Shaun the Sheep was in A Close Shave, and then he span off into his own TV show, and now this is a movie, and there's actually a spin-off from Shaun the Sheep, which is like a double spin-off, which I didn't know those existed. There's certain things I like about this film a lot, and I think watching a cartoon that's told completely through visuals is an amazing thing to watch. And I'm always impressed with a filmmaker who can just tell a story visually. And it makes Shaun the Sheep a lot more interesting than probably it has any right to be. The story isn't that great, really. It's kind of generic in a lot of ways, and especially like it does the whole normal kind of third act kind of crap that we're used to, but the way it does it is just so interesting and so much more fun. It's a way to show innocence that actually works. I think through storytelling and through a lot of kid shows, a lot of times it just becomes annoying, and that kind of innocence doesn't really register with you. You're just kind of watching and go, oh, that's just kid stuff. It plays like a really joyous, fun cartoon by people who actually care about making one of those. You know, I watched some of the Shaun the Sheep stuff on YouTube. None of it story-wise, just the basic idea is really that much better than a normal kid show. It's just how it does it. And I think Shaun the Sheep does what it's doing incredibly well, and it shows how great Aardman can be, that they can make a movie like this. And it shows the ingeniousness of Aardman. Some of the best stuff I like about them is visual storytelling, and especially at this time where even a movie like The Minions, which I thought was going to have a lot more visual storytelling than it ended up having, since the characters can only talk about bananas and say nonsense words, but in Shaun the Sheep, it really takes advantage of the visual medium and has a lot of fun with that. And actually, there was a part while I was watching, I wondered, like, I wonder if you could watch this without the sound, and the sound didn't exactly work for a major portion of it while I was watching it, and there was no problem with the movie at all in terms of taking in information. The other people in the theater were enjoying it, and I almost didn't notice it because it's just so strikingly visual. And it's an awesome thing to watch someone just go, let's just do this in a pure animated fashion. And when you have animated TV shows that are just all written on storyboard, like Mad Max Fury Road was also written on storyboards. And you have films that are mainly just being told on storyboards rather than the scripted process that we're used to with live action films. You're seeing filmmaking really come alive in a real visual sense. There's something about that that I just absolutely love. Maybe it's the influence of silent film that's come in, certainly in the new millennium with new restored DVDs and more silent films available than ever before. Or maybe it just says something about our time that we need more visual storytelling than we used to, that connects to us more. Although there weren't really that many people in the theater when I saw it, so maybe it's not actually connecting with us, but filmmakers want to do that more. And if filmmakers want to do that more, I really welcome it. I love that about Shaun the Sheep Movie. It took a story that I think I would have gone, I don't know, it was a fine kids movie or whatever, but it did it in an interesting way. And kids films aren't experimental. They're not trying to break the mold. They're really just trying to do exactly what they're trying to do and then get out, and that's it, and they're done. Yeah, but we'll do a kids movie, but let's actually have some fun with it. Let's have a well-directed kids movie. That's what makes Shaun the Sheep Movie kind of more of a return to form for Aardman, back to like their most basic, what they used to do with the Wallace and Gromit shorts and what made those Wallace and Gromit shorts so good. How Aardman's always really been a great studio for storytelling and how that's kind of continued. And Shaun the Sheep shows well-defined craftsmen who know how to tell a story that's not that exciting or anything, but do it in a very well-told way. And I think that shows more about a great animation studio than anything, that they can take something that's really not that unique, not that special, and do it up and make it into a special, amazing experience of a movie. And that's really how a Hollywood studio director should really be. And in a way, this is probably one of the best studio directed films I've seen this summer, and maybe this year. It's someone who seemed to still make a film that would probably make the suits happy, but still made a very artistically alive movie as well. Shaun the Sheep Movie understands visual storytelling. It understands the visual possibilities of animation and cartoons and how fun and amazing and joyous that can be. And that's an awesome thing to watch. And sure, it does get cheesy and stupid, and I don't really love the celebrity hairdressing kind of plot line. It gets a little too much in terms of that, but I don't think you'll be disappointed how good it is at telling that story and how much fun it is to watch a film, and how much you won't notice you're watching a film without dialogue, with just kind of like grunts and bahs and looks at each other. It really shows the possibility of filmmaking and animation and how you can do all this inventive stuff with a film that's mainly aimed at children. I think that's really cool. There are certain parts of this that I was like, okay, here we go, I don't know. But the fun animation element to it really made this film come alive and really made me have a great time with the Shaun the Sheep Movie. It's a movie that I'm sad most people won't get to appreciate, but it's amazing to watch a studio have a lot of joy and fun with something that a lot of studios would phone in, and it shows Aardman's real dedication to the craft, that they could make an average kids movie this much fun and this inventive. So if you have seen Shaun the Sheep Movie and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.